I'm Clive Gilson, the story guy, and this is Tales from the World's Firesides. Today we're heading off to West Africa, where stories shout out from the treetops and the air vibrates with ancient enchantment. This is the tale of why the pig's snout is flat. This tale is my own version of a traditional African legend taken from various sources in my own collection of folk and fairy tales. Why the pig's snout is flat belongs to the family of sort of African pourquoi tales, stories that explain why an animal looks or behaves the way it does. Anyway, let's draw closer to the fire, let the mood settle softly, and let's get into my tale. Why the pig's snout is flat. In the beginning, when the world was still young, the animals all lived much as people do. They spoke with voices as clear as yours or mine, and they gathered in markets, they argued, they laughed, and they quarrelled. In those days, Pig was very proud of his nose. It was long and round, with a fine, sharp point. He would strut through the village, showing it off, boasting, "Look at me, with this noble snout I can sniff out the sweetest yams, the fattest roots, the juiciest cassava. No one has a nose like mine." The other animals rolled their eyes. Goat muttered, "Boast, boast, boast, he talks more than he eats." But trickster Anansi pricked up his ears. Anansi loved nothing more than humbling the proud, and Pig's pride was as fat as his belly. So Anansi thought to himself, "Let's see how long that fine nose lasts when I've had my fun." So, one day, as Pig snuffled about the forest, Anansi crept close and whispered, "Friend Pig, with that wonderful snout of yours, you could dig up treasures the rest of us can't reach." Pig puffed out his chest. "Of course I could. I am the master of the earth itself." "Well then," Anansi said slyly, "deep in the earth there is a yam as long as a canoe and as sweet as honey. Only you, with that perfect nose, could find it. Dig, and it will be yours." Pig's eyes shone. Without a thought, he plunged his snout into the earth. He dug and dug, rooting and shoving, while Anansi chuckled. Pig pushed harder and harder, convinced that the treasure yam was just below his snout. But there was no yam, only hard earth and stones. Pig's nose scraped and scraped, pressing flatter and flatter as he shoved it against the ground. At last, Pig raised his head, snout bloody and swollen, no longer proud and sharp, but squashed flat against his face. Anansi burst out laughing so hard he nearly rolled into the bushes. "Where is the yam?" Pig cried, bewildered. "Why, you've already eaten it," teased Anansi, pointing at Pig's ruined nose. "Look how much earth you swallowed while you rooted about. A finer feast you'll never find." Pig groaned, but the other animals gathered round and laughed too. Goat bleated, a monkey shrieked, even the birds in the trees cackled. Poor Pig slunk away, his snout ruined forever. And from that day to this, Pig's children and children's children have all borne the same flat nose, good for nothing but rooting in the soil. That is why you see them still, snuffling and grunting in the earth, searching for yams and roots they may never find. And so our telling of the story of why the pig's snout is flat comes to an end. A tale of the old magic, I think, that still lingers in the quiet corners of West Africa. Stories like this remind us that wherever we live, be it Africa, Europe or Asia, we're never far from wonder. The peoples of this world share so much common culture, although we do find different ways to speak of things like gratitude and change, and of the thin, trembling line where the spirit world meets our own. If you'd like to travel further along these story paths, you'll find my full collections of folklore from the Arctic to the Caribbean, from the Philippines to Zanzibar, waiting in both print and digital form for you. You can find them at most good bookstores online or physical, and you can, for example, find them at Amazon on the link at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to know more about the storyteller behind the mic, you're always welcome at clivegilson.com. I'm always glad to connect and have a chat. If tonight's tale spoke to you, do subscribe, share your thoughts below maybe, and pass the story on, when after all that is how we keep the fire burning. But thank you, as always, for joining me at Tales from the World's Firesides. As I say, I'm Clive Gilson, the story guy, and until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep the stories burning brightly.